My idea is I'm gonna plug the stairs into here, and then I'll have lights on the stairs. I do have that light there, but I thought it'd be cool to have blue accent lights, so we'll see how that goes. But right now I'm adding big washers to these stair treads, because before they just had zip ties and that was really annoying. So, like that. Here I'm making my mount for my jacks. This is where the plug gets plugged into. I'm replacing the bathroom faucet here. These are some cool glow-in-the-dark 3D shelves for in the camper. And next I am going to be drilling a hole for the diesel heater. Little pro tip, if you have not that much wire sticking out of where you're installing a light or something, use, where is it? Focus. This style. That way you can always plug in a new one. But installing lights, LEDs there and up there. And I'm gonna get to wiring. So when I was out at Summer Racing getting the side boxes, we went to Scratch and Dent, and most of this wire was $5. I think one or two of them was like $6 or $10, but still, this is good. Insulated, pro, made in the USA, or at least the company's in USA, but it's not tinned copper wire. It's actual copper wire, so 100 feet. So I bought it for the camper and for the buggy, because like one of these on Amazon I think is like $20, and it's not nearly as good. So they had all the colors, and I bought everything because a lot of it was 18 gauge, and when you're wiring LEDs, you don't really need this thick of wire, so it was nice to get that too. But I'm gonna get back to wiring. This is what I'm working on right now. So this was just in here, and they cut like a giant hole. He at least marked everything, but everything had like wire nuts on, and it wasn't done right at all. But I'm gonna rewire it the right way, put in a ground bus bar there, stud, so that goes that way. Everything's going to go down by the water tank. I was going to mount the fuse box in here, but I haven't had time to make a door here because the propane cabinet only comes to about here, so you have all that space. So I don't know what I'm going to do yet, but that's where I'm going to mount the fuse for the lights and the refrigerator and all that, and then double fuse it, run it back, and fuse it inside. This is interior lights. Put in some LEDs there. So I will eventually have a rear light here, floodlights outside, and then maybe underglow is already there. So this is going to turn on the DC to DC charger, and then these three probably be a porch light and outside lights, and then one other. But you can hear the pump comes on. This here is so I can turn on my exterior running lights on the camper. I will go over how I did that in a minute, but yeah, shout out to Odyssey batteries. They're always my go-to for batteries. So if you want me to, I'll walk you through this. If not, skip forward. Basically, I have battery power coming up into there, the bus bar. They have covers. Then it goes from there into the breaker that came with the switch panel. And then that goes to the switch panel. This goes down to the ground instead of, this actually goes to the ground bus bar over there. And then this is the fuses and wires. And then this was not fun, because if you ever drilled in one of these campers, is instead of the studs running like that one over there, most of these studs are running like this one. So I had to drill through that one. Then I was like, oh, no big deal. And then there's one here. I was like, oh, no big deal. Drill through that. Then I hit another one, had extended bit that only got through that one. Then there's another one right about here. So I'm not proud of it, but I could have just ran the cable neatly down here and tied it off, but I decided to drill it, and then I was already too far ahead. So what I ended up having to do was hollow this out and drill on both sides of that stud, and then run the wire down to here. I didn't put this back together yet because, if you don't know, I work for an RV dealer. I'm an RV tech, so I have to grab a new faucet, because this faucet, I don't know if you can tell back there, this faucet looks original and they do have problems. I'm surprised this one never had a problem, but you have to take apart this wall. So I'm gonna put in a new faucet there, because it will come with new O-rings and all that stuff. So then I know that's good. And then I also have to dump bleach in the tank. Like, one cap full is all you need, and then you dump that in the tank and then run it through everything, and that will clean the lines out. So we'll go over to this side. Got some free pots and pans with the camper, brand new. So I still have to cut the zip ties, but the wires run along there nice and neat in, and I was gonna run them underneath, but I got lazy and I was like, hey, the water lines are outside of the campers, or on the inside of the camper, which why not just run the wires there? If it really bothers me, I'll put wire loom over it. But squirrel moment, sorry. Back to what I was doing. So all these wires, this one down here that comes through that hole, that's for the lights and some other junk that plugs into the truck. This wire here that's zip tied up here, this one is that one. The one way down there next to the red one, that one is more trailer wiring. I like trailer wiring because you get 4 or 5 wires in the small bundle, and you don't have to run individual wires. There's a pro tip for you. So like I said, don't judge us. I still have to clean it all up. But this is another fuse panel, and this will run my lights, the fridge, all that gets plugged into this, into the power stud down there, and the ground studs down there. So basically what I did was, if you can read that, that's actually says exterior lights or running lights. I forget what I wrote, but everything's labeled with a label maker. And what I did was I teed it off, used a yellow connector, and I teed it off. One goes to the back of the truck, and then the other one connects into that wire down there that runs my switch panel. So all of this, I grabbed a new line because this is moldy. If your line looks like this, it's moldy. And there's no drain on this tank from the factory, so I am going to put a drain in this one just so I have a drain. And this line is moldy, so I'm going to redo this with hard line actually. And if you can focus, that's actually cracked, so that's why I'm not building pressure. so I've got to grab a new one of those from work. But this is all the wiring. This wiring here is for my diesel heater, and the diesel heater actually runs off of this fuse panel here. And all these wires go up and into the factory spot. I didn't haggard cut that. I don't know who did, but that's pretty bad. This is behind your propane tank. So, and then that wire that's running up the wall there, that's actually another one of these, goes behind the fridge. And I have a charger up there now for cell phones in bed. Let me zoom back out. This is my diesel heater. I didn't mount it yet, but my diesel heater is gonna mount right in here because it's the most logical place. I can put the port for air coming out right between these two cabinets, and that's where that's gonna mount. What else did I do? This is the countertop. I still have to caulk around the edges, but this is a church pew. I took out the stove. So this wall is really jankily, like nothing square. So it was a major pain to cut it, but I'm just gonna put caulking all the way around it anyway, so no water goes down it. What else did I do? It seems like I did a lot more than that, but this is generic what's going on. I'll update on the next video and do a thorough walkthrough of everything working. But let's go outside and look at some stuff outside. So this is my substructure here that I was talking about. It bolts underneath the camper in the front, and there that's what I want to paint, all that wood. So this, I'll mount my toolboxes, generator, because I have a flatbed. And then that way, when I pick this up, and actually it's gonna tie into this bracket and probably somehow tie into this bracket here. So it will be super strong, and then I'm gonna drill a hole down through and mount this to my stake pockets. So when I lift this up, everything can stay with it. But these are my jacks. So this is a trailer ton jack. I just welded it to that, made an extension bracket for my truck, and then just used a piece of pipe, cross bolted it so it can't wobble. This one over here, because the ground's so unlevel, it is a little crooked, but they lift the camper up fine. And then this wire here is gonna get bolted to like that, and when I want to take them off, I just unplug it right there. And this one I'll unplug here, and then in the back, like I said, I didn't run the wires yet because I'm still trying to figure out where I want to mount this wiring harness. I'm thinking right on this corner. I'll make an L bracket and then mount it in there. But yes, it does have a toilet inside, small black tank underneath the toilet, and I'm gonna grab, for boondocking, if I'm not allowed to dump on the ground, I'm just gonna grab a tote from work. But I'm gonna replumb all of that next because it's all just janky garden hose and my brackets there, and that's another project. But it's finally nice today, so what I'm gonna do next is I'm gonna jack the camper up, pull this out, drill my holes for mounting, paint the undercarriage, and be ready to go. Little pro tip: if you have not that much wire sticking out of where you're installing a light or something, use, where is it? Focus. This style. That way you can always plug in a new one. But installing lights, LEDs there and up there, and I'm gonna get to wiring. So this is my substructure here that I was talking about. It bolts underneath the camper in the front, and there that's what I want to paint, all that wood. So this, I'll mount my toolboxes, generator, because I have a flatbed, and then that way when I pick this up, and actually it's going to tie into this bracket and probably somehow tie into this bracket here, so it will be super strong. And then I'm gonna drill a hole down through and mount this to my stake pockets, so when I lift this up everything can stay with it. But these are my jacks. So this is a trailer ton jack. I just welded it to that, made an extension bracket for my truck, and then just used a piece of pipe, cross bolted it so it can't wobble. This one over here, because the ground's so unlevel, it is a little crooked, but they lift the camper up fine. And then this wire here is gonna get bolted to like that, and when I want to take them off, I just unplug it right there. And this one I'll unplug here, and then in the back, like I said, I didn't run the wires yet because I'm still trying to figure out where I want to mount this wiring harness. I'm thinking right on this corner. I'll make an L bracket and then mount it in there. But yes, it does have a toilet inside, small black tank underneath the toilet, and I'm gonna grab, for boondocking, if I'm not allowed to dump on the ground, I'm just gonna grab a tote from work. But I'm gonna replumb all of that next, because it's all just janky garden hose and my brackets there, and that's another project. But it's finally nice today, so what I'm gonna do next is I'm gonna jack the camper up, pull this out, drill my holes for mounting, paint the undercarriage, and be ready to go. So the tray's on there, the one box is on there, still have to do the other side, but it's working out according to plan. I still have to attach that over there somehow because I had to cut it around the box, but my generator should fit right there. So I'll have the same thing on the other side. I put the boxes up front so more weight's towards the cab, and come along. Finally a nice day out. So I painted the undercarriage and bolted everything in. I might add one or two more gusset brackets, but I think it will hold. I used, I don't know if you can tell, carriage bolts. That way my mat on my truck, I'll just squish it down. There's no head. So it's coming along. I don't know if it was factory, but this is what I came up with to solve the issue of garden hoses teeing together. I wanted 1 inch straight out of the camper, and then I could tie both of them together with a Y. This is where I'm going to come out from the sink, and the next picture is where I'm going to come out from the shower, and I can run them together. Yeah, it will still be 3/4 inch garden hose, but at least the main drain is 1 inch tubing. So I straightened up the electrical cabinet. I still have to put caps on all of the electrical stuff, but the solar panels are charging. I even got the diesel heater installed. I still have to plumb the vent or the air ducting. This is in by where the water tank is. I cleaned up all the wiring the best I could there. I'm currently painting the camper red and white. I'm going to repaint the white section that you see there's kind of red on it. We're trying to get this thing loaded tomorrow, so we're ready for the trip next weekend to Good Evening Ranch. If you don't know, I left it at the end here, that Texas emblem. This is a Capri camper made out of Texas. They're known for rodeo campers, but there's plenty more to come. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, and if you have any questions, drop them below.